All right, so you want to dive into multivitamins. Do they really do what all the ads say? Especially for like keeping our brains working well, as we get older. You
Yeah.
sent over some really interesting research, including things on this Cosmos study. We're going to
Yeah.
break all that down today. So whether you're prepping for a big presentation or just love learning new things, this is for you.
Yeah, it seems like supplements are everywhere these days.
Yeah.
But gotta be careful and figure out like what's hype versus actual science. That's why something like this Cosmos study, that's what makes it so important.
Bro, totally. I'm all about good research. And this Cosmos, that was a big one, huh? Over 2,000 participants, all 65 or older. They tracked them for 3 years with yearly, cognitive assessments. So how's their memory doing? How's their thinking?
What's impressive, even besides like how many people and how long it went on for, is the study design itself, right? Randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled. Helps get rid of bias so the results are stronger.
Okay, so big study, well-designed.
Yeah.
What did they learn about the multivitamins?
Well, overall, some things were mixed. Cocoa extract, they were testing that too. Didn't seem to do much for thinking, but the multivitamin group, that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah. What did they see there?
People taking that daily multivitamin, after 3 years, they actually did better on the thinking tests compared to placebo. Measured stuff like processing speed, memory, executive function, and the multivitamin group, they improved in those areas. Even estimated that, get this, taking a multivitamin could slow cognitive aging by like 60%.
Wait, so that's like almost 2 years younger, brain-wise. Isn't that huge?
Gotta remember, more research is always needed, but it's definitely pretty interesting. Could be big, if it holds up.
You also sent over some notes on your own research about, do multivitamins actually work? It seems like for most healthy people, the diet's still the most important. Yeah.
100%. Healthy diet, gotta be the foundation. Multivitamins, maybe they fill in some gaps, but they're not replacing good food like fruits, veggies, whole grains.
Right. Gotta have the basics. But your research also mentioned certain groups who might benefit more from the multivitamins.
Exactly. Older adults, sometimes they don't absorb nutrients as well. Multivitamin could help there. Then you've got like pregnant women, they've got special needs. Vegetarians and vegans, maybe they need that B12 boost. And people with, certain medical conditions that mess with how they absorb stuff.
Makes sense. Now, going back to that Cosmos study, it's worth pointing out they used a pretty standard multivitamin. That's from silver, right?
And that's key. Even a basic one showed these possible benefits for thinking. It suggests, even simple supplementation, it could make a real difference for some people. It's not about finding the magic pill. It's realizing that even the basic nutrients in a regular multivitamin, they might play a role in keeping our brains healthy.
So it's not magic. It's more about even the basic nutrients. They matter for our whole health, including our brains. But we got to talk downsides too, right? Your notes mentioned like overdoing it on certain vitamins.
Oh, for sure. Too much of some vitamins and minerals, that can be bad news. You always got to stick to what the bottle says, how much to take. And if you're ever unsure, talk to your doctor. Always a good idea.
Definitely. And I think there's also that risk of people feeling too safe, thinking, oh, I take my vitamins, so now I can eat whatever.
That's real. Multivitamins, they should add to a healthy life, not replace it,
So we talk about multivitamins in general, but what about the stuff inside them, the actual nutrients that maybe are doing the brain boosting?
Yeah, you're right. Gets even more interesting there. It's like, instead of the whole team, who are the star players? Omega-3s, the B vitamins, antioxidants, all those guys.
Like the brain all-star team.
Yeah.
I hear a lot about omega-3s, especially DHA. That's supposed to be important for how brain cells are built and how they talk to each other.
Right, exactly. And the older we get, our bodies make less DHA naturally. So getting enough either from food or supplements, it's extra important to keep those brain functions going strong.
So it's like giving our brains the right building blocks as we age.
That's a great way to put it. And then you've got the B vitamins. They're crucial for so many things the brain does, like making energy, producing those neurotransmitters, even protecting brain cells from getting damaged.
It's like they're the unsung heroes. Maybe they don't get all the hype, but they're doing the hard work behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly up there.
I like that. And we can't forget the antioxidants, like vitamin C and E. Think of it this way. Free radicals, they're kind of like rust, slowly damaging your car. Antioxidants, they're that protective coating, helping to prevent that damage from happening to our cells.
That makes sense. So we've got omega-3s helping to build and support the brain cells. B vitamins keeping the energy up and the communication flowing. And antioxidants fighting off those damaging free radicals, like a whole team working together, right?
Exactly. So it's important to see a multivitamin as more than just a bunch of random stuff thrown in there. Each nutrient, it has a specific job contributing to our health, and that includes our brain health.
So for someone listening thinking, okay, this is cool, I want to learn more, where should they start? There's so much info out there, can be overwhelming.
It's true, but that's also kind of what makes it fun, right? There's always more to discover. I always say stick with good sources like the National Institutes of Health, the Alzheimer's Association, those websites, their fact sheets, really great for finding good info that's actually been backed up by evidence.
Great advice. And I think it's good to remember, too, everyone's different. What works for one person might not work the same for someone else.
100%. That's why you got to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements, right?
Yeah.
They can help figure out if a multivitamin or certain nutrients make sense for you, given your health history and all that.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Started with that big Cosmos study, some interesting hints there about multivitamins maybe helping brain function, especially as we age.
And what made Cosmos so good was that design, right? Really high quality study so we can be more confident in the findings.
But can't forget the healthy diet, though. Always got to be the base.
Absolutely. Multivitamins, maybe they add a little extra support, especially for some folks, but they're not some miracle cure.
And as always, everyone, check with your doc before starting anything new, just to be safe.
Good advice. When it comes to health, there's never just one answer that works for everyone.
This deep dive has really got me thinking about all the different ways we can keep our brains healthy. It's not just what we eat, but like how we live our lives overall.
That's so true. Our lifestyle choices, they can make a huge difference in how our brains function.
Like exercise, getting enough sleep, how we handle stress, even our social connections, all that plays a part.
You got it. Regular exercise, for example, it increases blood flow to the brain, helps with memory, focus, all that good stuff.
I know when I get some exercise in, I feel way sharper, like my brain got a workout too. And sleep, man, we all know how fuzzy-headed we feel when we're sleep deprived.
Sleep, so crucial. That's when our brains consolidate memories, clear out toxins, repair damage. If we don't sleep enough over time, it really messes with how well our brains work.
Okay, so exercise, sleep, both key players. What about stress? I know when I'm stressed out, my brain's like in overdrive, but not in a good way. Does that actually have an effect on brain health?
Oh, for sure. Little bit of stress can be motivating, right? But when it's constant, that's when it gets bad. Chronic stress, it releases these hormones like cortisol, and that can damage brain cells, make it harder to remember things, increase risk of anxiety, depression.
So finding ways to handle stress in a healthy way, like mindfulness, being in nature, hanging out with people we care about, that's got to be part of protecting our brains too.
And speaking of connecting with people, social interaction, that's another big one for brain health. People who are more socially active, they tend to have a lower risk of cognitive decline, even dementia.
Yeah, that makes sense. Our brains were wired for connection, right? So when we interact with others, it keeps our minds active, makes us think in new ways, it's emotionally supportive. All that contributes to feeling good overall.
Exactly. So it's not just what we put in our bodies, but how we live, you know?
Yeah.
It's nourishing our brains with all of it. Exercise, sleep, managing stress, those good connections with people.
Wow, we really have come full circle. Started with multivitamins, and now we're talking about this whole interconnected world of brain health. No one answer. It's a whole bunch of things that make a brain healthy and thriving.
And the cool thing is, we have the power to influence that through the choices we make every day.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, think about your own habits. What are you already doing that's good for your brain? Anything you want to try going forward. It's never too late to start investing in our brain health, you know?
And who knows, maybe something in today's episode sparked an interest or inspired you to try something new that'll benefit your brain. That learning never stops, right?
That's the truth. Well, thanks for joining us on this exploration of multivitamins and brain health. Until next time on The Deep Dive.